Hey Flockers, this is Sarah.
And this is Jenny, and you are listening to Naked with Socks, a podcast where we
Assess the mess with finesse. First of all, welcome back. If you are joining us again, we want to say thank you
so much.
Thank you. And if this is your first time joining us, you should definitely go listen to episode 1 before you listen to this episode, so you have an idea of what we're all about here.
We are super excited to be your virtual besties and share all of our messy experiences with you.
So we want you guys to get comfortable. Like, you are in your living room, you've got a drink in your hand. Either way,
Driving to work,
whatever
you're doing, we're here for it.
Yes, we want you to just imagine us with you wherever you are. And we want this to be such a comfortable setting, hence the name.
Naked with Socks.
So what is today's podcast about? Well, let me tell you. It is all about Jenny. Yay! And I have to tell you, I cannot go today without saying one time, Jenny. I had to say it one time.
I've heard that my whole life.
I know. I feel for you because I feel like you've probably heard that since you can remember.
Yeah. I remember in water polo, I think is when that started. People were like, Jenny, like, throw me the ball. Yeah.
And it sucks that she's kind of like the shitty character in the movie.
I can relate. I'm like the bad guy. It's fine. I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, gosh. So, first of all, do you want to just talk about how many downloads we had?
125.
Oh, my God.
Like, almost 100 in the first 72 hours, which was amazing. I mean, whether you hate us or you love us, thank you. Like, that number is exciting. I, love looking at data, and I go back and like, yes.
Yeah, we were, constantly texting each other, like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate it, and we kind of feel badass because Joe Rogan, when he started his podcast, Patrick, my boyfriend, had told us that he only had 300 downloads.
We are halfway there.
We're halfway there, Joe Rogan.
So
okay,
thanks.
we're gonna surpass you one day.
But, no 3-hour episodes.
No.
I would literally be wasted at the end.
Yeah, and I don't know because they do drink the whole time on that show.
Do they?
And they smoke
Maybe
pot.
that's hey.
So yeah, they have a good time on that show.
Sarah keeps me in check on this podcast.
Yes. Speaking of that, cheers.
Today's drink.
Yes. Tell us what today's drink is.
Today's drink is dedicated to my friend Kirsten, who came up with the nickname Blacked Out Jenny because that's what happens when I drink too much tequila.
So today's drink is called Blackout Jenny, and we will definitely link it so that you can try it. And do you want to tell us what's in it?
So I always buy the Zing Zang brand because it does not have food coloring.
It's very good.
Yeah. Zing Zang, I love Bloody Marys, I love red beers, and they never have Clamato or red dye in their stuff. So I saw this and I was like, perfect. Mango margarita mix, 100. And, of course, some Casamigos tequila because only the best for Blackout Jenny.
Yes. And I feel like
squeezed lime juice, salt on the rim because I love everything super salty.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like today's drink is very characteristic of you.
Yeah, it's a little sweet, more salty than sweet.
And it's fun. Tequila is fun. I feel like, what's the song? Tequila makes her clothes come off.
Yeah, and makes her black out. So, thanks.
Perfect. All right, before we get started into Jenny's story, and I've got one interview question for her, not 3 this time, but we're going to get to know who Jenny is, and I definitely feel like I'm going to leave today, and whoever else is listening right now, you're going to leave today feeling motivated, inspired, encouraged. I mean, all those words. And you're gonna leave with that feeling of taking a chance, that daring, adventurous spirit, because your story is one of my favorites. You have such an amazing life story and where you're at today. So before we get started, I need you to start that song so that we can jam out for a sec.
A little dance session.
A little dance session.
Okay, let's do this.
And we're back.
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Interview question.
Interview question. I have one question for you, and it's a really cool question, I feel like. The question is, what's one song that you best relate yourself or your life to?
Great question, Sarah.
Just one. I know there's probably a lot.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
My music goes based upon my mood. Like I have a mood for every playlist. Playlist for every mood.
Okay.
So that's a really hard question. But I would say one of the songs I feel like when I'm down or when I'm like in a weird place and I'm trying to, usually an NF song from the Perception album.
Oh, okay.
It's like kind of where I go back to. And what is that song? Time.
Time by NF.
By NF,
Okay.
yes.
I'll have to listen to it.
It's literally, and it's not just like a relationship song, but it's just more of like always looking for a better version of myself. And I feel like
Okay.
I'm constantly growing, and time is something that is like super important to me. Like
Yeah.
I use ghosting as a form of self-care. Like I have to have my space and my time.
Yes.
And that song just like really resonates with me most of the
I'm
time.
going to listen to it now because I don't
Yeah.
know if I've heard it before.
It's like a little moody for
Okay.
us, but yeah, that's definitely one that is
Okay.
that I go back to a lot. You know, we're always changing. We need time to process.
Very
and
true.
Time is very precious. So
It is.
okay.
Yeah, so next week
It's a lot of pressure.
I'll answer the
Then
same
you're
question.
going to tell me your song?
Yes. I'll tell you mine.
Are you going to listen to my song?
I am. Okay, so she just refilled her drink.
A little shot of
A
tequila.
little shot of tequila in there. Let's do this.
Okay.
So, Jenny,
Yes.
let's do it. Tell us about you.
Well, first of all, thank you to all of my family and friends who listened and gave us feedback. Like, I got
Yes.
so many sweet texts and like,
You
just-
have a really good support system.
I really do. It was super humbling, and really cool to know that like no one forgot about me, you know? Still
Oh my
just
gosh, no, like everyone was
living my best Florida life, but have all of my besties that are still like
Yeah.
my number ones.
That was
So
awesome.
thanks. All right, so born
Where were you born?
La La Land. I was actually born in Los Angeles, California.
Badass.
Lived there, and then we moved to Clovis, California. So that's centrally located in right smack dab in the middle, so the valley. And my parents moved there, you know, for a better life and good school districts and whatnot. And so I was trying to think of how to describe my parenthood or my upbringing when you were talking about your like conservative
Yeah.
religious upbringing. I was
Right.
like, I wasn't not religious. Like there was some,
Influence in your life of
Yeah.
some religion. Okay.
and I came up with unconventional parenting. So just a little
Okay.
bit more laid back. And
Yeah.
my dad was actually raised Greek Orthodox, and my mom was raised Mormon. So there was some
Yeah.
influence, but we didn't go to church every Sunday. My parents drank, they smoked, they cussed, everything, all that
Yeah.
in front of me. So it was interesting because last weekend I got to meet Sarah's mom and dad.
She did.
And I was really nervous, but they were so sweet. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh no. What did I say? I think I said a bad word. Or she's
It's
like,
okay.
And her mom's like, we don't talk like that. I was like, okay. I'm sorry, mom. So
To my mom to say, yeah.
yeah, I think I said I was going to beat the shit out of my kid, actually. And she goes, oh no. It's fine. So that's how I was raised. You know, there were spankings, and both my parents struggled with addiction issues.
Okay.
They actually separated at one point because there was some infidelity. They ended up getting back together. But when I was 14, I was diagnosed bipolar and I was put on medication, which made me super suicidal.
Now, question. What brought about where your parents were like, okay, let me take her to the doctor or whatever? Like, what made that
That's a
come
good
about?
question.
Yeah.
I was super impulsive, and then I would be like, in school, and just like 1 second everything's going 100 miles an hour, and I'm this and this and that, and then the next like day, like you literally couldn't get me out of bed.
Okay.
Like I was like, I wouldn't go to school, I wouldn't eat. Yeah, so it was like the manic episodes that they were noticing. So my mom took me and got me some help, and they diagnosed me. But the medicine they gave me made me worse. Like it made me zombie.
Wow.
I just remember like driving in a car and looking out the window and being like numb. And I knew I didn't like that. So I struggled with, there's like me not on medicine.
Okay.
Like Jenny, me. Then there's medicated Jenny.
Okay.
Like when I'm balanced or numb.
Okay.
And then there's like real me. Like where am I in this? Like, am I high? Am I low? Like, so I had like I struggled with like identity issues, trying to figure out like, well, if I'm on medicine, then I'm not really me, and that kind of stuff.
I could understand how you would feel that way.
But what was really scary was really just going down those dark spaces and not being happy. And my parents really didn't know what to do. Like,
yeah. So they did the best they knew at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would get in like these super low lows and I would stop caring about stuff. I'd stop caring about school. I think at one point I had like a 0.2 GPA. Like all of my friends made fun of me. Like to this day, they're just like, Jenny, like you had to really try to fuck that up.
That took effort to get that low.
0.2. Yeah. And I was really smart. I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
I couldn't play water polo because of my grades, so that was huge. And then I was drinking and smoking, and then, you know, me and my parents weren't getting along. We were butting heads, particularly me and my dad. And there was actually one night that my friends and I all went out and we got intoxicated at an underage party, and we were driving home.
So you were what, 15? 14?
No, I think I was 16 at
16.
It was my junior year.
Okay, so you were, 16, 17, something like that.
Okay. We were all in Santa outfits. If anyone has the picture, you can send it.
Okay, I just imagined Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Remember when the scene where they're all in the Santa outfits?
It's so bad.
Okay.
That night, our sober driver ran the stop sign.
Oh,
and she was sober. Yes.
Thank God
but
she
that
was.
night, she ran the stop sign, but still, I was wasted. I was like blacked out Jenny. And I got like an out of control minor ticket. I got a minor in possession. Like, I got all these tickets.
Really? Okay.
And basically, an entire summer's worth of community service.
So that was the summer between your junior and senior year.
Yes.
Okay.
So then now I have a probation officer who's on speed dial for my parents. And it was horrible. And I was like,
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I really can't.
And that's when I moved to Santa Barbara.
Okay.
So that was the only way to get out of community service and to get out of my house with my parents. And it just wasn't like a good environment for either of us. Like, they didn't know what to do with me. I didn't know what to do with them. And it was just like, well, you know, you can't drink, but we can drink. And then I kind of used that against them.
Okay.
In a way, it was like, well, if you're going to be wasted, then I'm going to go out and get wasted. And I was just, you know, really rebellious.
Right, because you had already gotten a taste.
Yeah, I mean, my mom was, I was allowed to drink at home. I was drinking, what are those things called? Screwdrivers. And I started smoking when I was 15. And I was already so involved and had already been doing it. And so my parents couldn't really reel me back in. Plus, like, the medication.
Yeah, it was
and
like you'd already had a taste of that. And it was like, how do you, when you're a teenager especially, how do you reel that back in?
Yeah, I was a shit show, basically. And that's when I moved to Santa Barbara with my Nana. She was super sweet and took me in. And that, I would say, was like the best year of my life. So Santa Barbara was like my haven. I was by myself with, my grandma and my great Aunt Ruth. And I was able to find a sense of like calm and normalcy there.
Okay.
Like I was going to the beach and taking naps and
Now, Santa Barbara, is it more of like a beach?
more of a beach town.
Okay.
So kind of like the St. Augustine feel.
Okay. I could see
But I
how as
lived
a
with,
teenager you would love that.
Oh yeah. I needed that. I had to get away out of my environment.
Yeah.
It was all bad. And being there was really eye-opening. My grandma insisted if I lived there, I had to go to church with her. She was Mormon. So that was really fun. And then I started dating the like pastor's son, and she was like, no, you can't go to church with me anymore. Okay.
You just went in there and went full force.
I did. Then I enrolled in some college classes.
Okay.
So I could go to Isla Vista and be a part of that whole group. And it's basically, I mean, I don't know what to compare it to here, but like Isla Vista is where all the college kids live. It'd be like St.
I
Augustine,
feel
right?
like Jack's Beach would have that vibe more.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was literally 17, 16 years old and drinking with like all these college people. And my poor Nana, bless her heart, was just like so naive, but it was really amazing. I met some really cool people. I was like actually like got to see Iration before they were
that's so cool.
in 2006, before they were like a legit band and went on tour in 2008. So it was like, oh, Iration's playing on the beach today. Like, da-da-da.
Fucking awesome.
Amazing. And it's just houses on the beach, and it was fun. And then I came home to visit. It was like Thanksgiving, I think.
Okay.
I'm the oldest of 3, by the way.
Okay. Oldest of 3.
Yeah. Some holiday break. And got pregnant with my high school sweetheart. Had our daughter in 2007.
Okay.
So this was the year I was supposed to graduate, and that was really hard because I did get pregnant, and then my high school wouldn't let me back in.
Really?
So when I moved back, I remember sitting in this office, and my mom and the guidance counselor were like, it would be best if she just went to a continuation school where she got her GED. Like, we really don't think this is the place for her. And my mom didn't know any better. Like,
Okay.
I mean, she just was doing what she was told. And
Yeah.
and I had to I remember sitting in my car crying, seeing all my friends go to prom and walk across the stage. And I just kind of feel like that was taken from me by the school.
By the school, yeah.
Just persuading my mom that this was the best decision for me. And that was like really tough.
That is. I can't imagine.
But I had my daughter and love her.
Yes, the sweetest teenager ever. I think she is.
She's great.
She's just very even
Indifferent.
keel.
Yeah.
She goes with the flow.
And I would love to hear her perspective on
We'll have
me
to
as
bring-
a mother.
we'll have to
like
bring her
her
on one
upbringing.
day.
Because I was still wild. I was still young and ended up moving home and got my GED. And then basically was a single mom working until like 2013, working in the restaurant industries and going to school. At first, I thought I wanted to be an RN. And then I could not pass a chemistry class to save my life.
Yeah, that shit sucks.
Yeah, it was like, this is not for me, folks. I knew I wanted to be like in the medical industry or like helping people. I wasn't really sure, but
Yeah.
I started working in the school district in special education, and that's where I met my husband now.
So sweet.
Yes. We both went in to get our degree in psychology
Okay.
because we were both fascinated with this one little boy who had autism, and I wanted to be in his brain. I like wanted to figure him out for the freaking life of me. And then it just kind of goes back to like, I want to understand my brain. I want to understand serial killers' brains. Like, I was very fascinated with psychology
And behavior.
that's when I found behavior.
Okay.
And like, how does the brain affect the behavior?
Ooh,
How much
okay.
so that question, the nature versus nurture,
Okay.
all the time.
That's a big thing.
Is one of my like favorite questions.
Because
I feel
it's
like I
one
could
of
talk about
those
that.
where it's a fun topic to talk about.
Oh,
with
that's a
people.
whole episode.
That's a whole
Taw.
That's a whole taw.
Nature versus nurture. Like, how much does your
Yeah.
environment have an effect, and how much is that just chemicals?
Yes.
So then I got into ABA, which is
Yeah, what does that mean?
applied behavior analysis.
Applied behavior analysis. Okay.
I did that for about 7 years, and I knew I wanted to get my master's degree in that because I wanted to keep going with that. I'm obsessed with behavior, and I love
That's
taking
awesome.
data and
Yeah.
figuring things out. And I think it helped me grow a lot and figure out myself as a lot, and also in any profession and with friends and just raising my kids. And it really just applies to like all aspects of life.
I think it just shows to you know, who you are, and you deciding to go into that vocation just shows who you are as a person. Like, not only is it you're wanting, I feel like you
I was
also
trying to figure myself out, to be honest. Like, I needed to know what the fuck was wrong with me, and I still haven't figured it out. But I'm really good.
But
at
I feel
other
like when
things.
you tell me these stories, you definitely have a way with dealing with people. It takes a special person to deal with special needs people, and that's something that not everyone is built to do. So for you to decide that's what you wanted to do showed like your heart,
Yeah.
and that you did care about people.
Yeah, and I was not going to be a nurse. It wasn't going to work out.
So I like, for me, you know, that's something I would have never decided to do, like primarily that be what I do.
So I
just
didn't
think
want
that
to be a
shows-
therapist. I didn't want to give people advice.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference between like behavior therapy and like cognitive therapy or things
Okay.
like that. Like, I was like, I am not equipped to be giving advice to people, but I can take data on your behavior and then go based off of that.
Yes. Okay.
So
but,
I just like very analytical decisions.
right. But, and I know like when you and I have conversations, I love your perspective because it is very analytical. It's not based on emotions, which is like sometimes
I've had to learn I have to just turn off
to cut
my
it. Yeah.
emotions.
To cut it off.
So that's why I love ABA and behavior therapy. And I mainly work with kids with autism.
But again, I feel like it definitely takes a special person, because I feel like a lot of people would get emotionally like offended, or how a child would react, things like that. So you being able to do that is
It's a
It's a
have to
skill.
completely change. Yeah. I loved my career in ABA. But people get burnt out very
I could
quickly.
see that.
It's hard.
Yeah, and exhausting.
It's so hard. I mean, it's a tough career. And if you talk to any BCBA or any analyst or any behavior technician that works with kids with severe behaviors,
yeah.
it's a high turnover rate, because you really are just dealing with a lot. You're dealing with parents, you're dealing with emotions, you're dealing with kids beating the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go home at night and be able to.
You don't go into work, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. And I love that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Then also I was going home and not sleeping thinking, is little Johnny not talking? Can I be doing more to help him? Can I be doing more? Is this therapist trained enough? And so that takes a toll. And in 2018,
Okay.
I got burnt out. I hit my burnout point. And I looked at my husband and I was like, I want a restaurant. Like, I'm going to own a restaurant. Let's open a restaurant.
So here we cue Jenny, the daring Jenny, the adventurous Jenny.
Well, I mean,
I love
what
it.
else? I was like, okay, I'm very passionate about wine and craft beer and
Cheers to
food.
that. Hold on. Cheers to that.
Such a foodie.
Cheers.
We'll drink right. Okay.
Whew. So you opened a restaurant.
Okay, so yeah, this is where my crazy comes in. This is where it was probably a little impulsive, but I got married and had our son in 2016. Same year, we were like, let's do it.
Okay.
Didn't have a wedding, not a wedding girl. Like,
So you guys just eloped.
walked down to the courthouse, like, hey, let's do this.
That's awesome.
Let's make a baby. Got it all out.
Yeah.
And right after we had him, it was like, okay, this is fun. Took a little break. I was like, let me try stay-at-home momhood for like 4 months. Is how long it lasted. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And Todd wanted one more. He was like, okay, let's have one more.
One more after the first. So this is, you had 2 children. You had Tatum, your oldest daughter.
Yes.
Then you had Knox. And Todd was like, hey, let's try for one more.
Yeah. And
Okay.
this is, I don't even know. They're 16 months apart. So,
2017.
well, yeah, that's when I found out I was pregnant with twins.
So they tried for one more.
Yeah.
And you were like, they were like, oh, it's twins.
Kind of, it went like that. I said the F word 8 times. The doctor finally like put down the ultrasound machine and he just walked out. He was like, I'm just gonna give you a minute. And I just remember seeing the nurse's face and she just had her like hands and her mouth was open and
Because question, do twins run in your family?
no.
So it was just a complete.
Well, and my dad's adopted, so I don't really know his.
Oh, true. Okay.
Which was always fascinating to me. I always wanted to know his medical history.
So there may be on his side
yeah,
twins.
but they're fraternal, had twins. And then when literally they were like 6 months old, I was like, we're gonna open a restaurant. Todd's like, okay.
So you had a not even, or just a little over a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And you had 6-month-old twins, and you were like, fuck it, we're opening a restaurant. Love it.
Did that. So that was the best and worst experience of my life. Honestly, like I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't trade it. I learned so much and I grew so much as a person, and it really put me and my husband through a lot. Like,
Well, and you've shown me, because the restaurant to this day.
it's thriving. It's doing
thriving.
amazing. Shout out to Jesse and Danny.
Yes. And
Killing it.
you guys, it seemed like so successful.
It was really hard. As far as like restaurants don't make money that first year, the first 5 years. You shouldn't be, there's really no income
Really?
from it. So at that point, I was I was literally everything: managing, serving, bartending, cooking, like
Wow.
everything. Todd was doing everything he could while also being at home with the kids. And we lost everything. Like, we lost our house, we lost our car, we had to move in with my parents. Like, we weren't prepared financially enough to like really sustain the restaurant for a long term. And it got to a point where Todd was miserable and he hated me, and I was gone 16 hours a day. And we decided to sell the restaurant. So we were like, all right, this is what's going to be best. Sold the restaurant. 3 months later, COVID hit.
Wow.
And the restaurant shut down.
Oh my God. So the timing of that.
It was like, I look back now and I'm like, oh my God. Like, we would have just lost everything and then not been able to sell and walk away without
So
debt.
you were able
and-
to sell the restaurant and at least get.
Yes, get out of debt.
Yeah.
Get, back on our feet. Get our house and move out of my parents and kind of stabilize. And then everything shut down.
Wow. That's
So it was like,
nuts.
it was perfect timing. It was a blessing in disguise. And I also, it's crazy that the people that bought the restaurant are so successful now. Like, he literally had to close.
Yeah, they were able to keep something
And-
while everything was closed.
Yeah, and reopen finally with all these precautions and mandates and all these things, and
Yeah.
they made it through. So that makes my heart happy.
That is so,
At the local in Old Town Clovis, we'll link them. They're amazing. If you live in California, go
That's
there.
awesome.
So we got back on our feet. Todd actually went to start working for UPS because they were an essential worker.
Yeah, that was
and
smart.
hiring. And he literally started as like a package loader, making $13 an hour, loading packages in the middle of the night. I went back into ABA. Then schools were shut down, so my poor daughter she missed out on half her 7th grade, all of her 8th grade year.
Wow.
They did virtual learning. And I'm sorry, do you remember your 7th and 8th grade year?
Yeah, it's
Those are
very pivotal,
socially, emotionally important time in your life.
You grow a lot in those years.
Yeah. And those are like the years where you're meeting friends and you're finding out who you are.
You're finding out, and you're finding your group, your groove, you're coming out into the social scene.
Yeah. And it all got locked down. It all got shut down.
Wow.
And it was horrible. So I really felt for my daughter. I know how much that changed her and how much that affected her. Because then she did virtual school. And she was not successul in it. And what was sad is me every day going and emailing teachers and calling this and that. I'm like, well, everyone's failing. It's fine. I'm like, if everyone's failing, it is not fine. This is not okay.
Obviously, it's not working if everyone's failing.
She failed 7th grade. She failed 8th grade.
Wow.
And they did nothing. Pause. So I'm on drink number 3. So this is going to be blacked out Jenny's story pretty soon.
She's living true to her name over here. Her drink name. That's awesome.
Okay. Unpause. Seriously, though.
On a serious
note. I was not raised political by any means. My parents, I feel like weren't really involved in politics until later in life.
Okay.
And not to get into politics because that's not what this is about.
Right.
But when it comes to your kids, especially when the governments are trying to like co-parent with you and can tell you when your kid can go to school, and you have mask mandates, employee mandates, vaccination mandates. There were all kinds of crazy laws changing all while going on during like this COVID period. So like the California curriculum was changing to include critical race theory. Probably never heard of that.
No.
CRT? Yeah, it's a thing in California. You go into like fight or flight mode because you're just like, I really felt like the world was just slipping out from underneath us. And I didn't know. I was like, and I had no more fight left in me.
I honestly can't imagine because Florida was tough. But, it didn't last very long. And it wasn't, it definitely was where we went through a period of things being shut down. People weren't allowed to go anywhere. There weren't allowed to be more than 10 people at one place. Social distancing, all of that was definitely a thing, but it ended. And from talking to you and other people, it was severe in other areas, way more than it was here.
Yeah. It got really scary in California. I realized, I didn't know it until I moved here, how much anxiety I had walking around. Like, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulder. Like no one was going to yell at me for not wearing a mask, or my son
telling you what to do, basically.
And it's just, it just got real. It got really intense. I just told Todd, I was like, we can't do this.
Because I feel like for you, it was probably not even really about the politics of it.
No.
It was about being a parent.
Yeah. And my daughter, whose most important years of her life is now on hold. And now for her to go back to school, they've taken out history class. They have this new curriculum that they're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Right. And that you as a parent aren't comfortable for your daughter to be a part of.
Yeah. And of course she was going to have to get vaccinated to go back to school. And I'm sorry, like, again, I love data and science, and you cannot tell me that you're going to force me to give my kids something that hasn't been out for more than less than 8 months.
Right. And I think that it's the freedom of having the choice of it is the biggest deal.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So our fight was over. We just put on like the longest fight of our life for 2 years with the restaurant, trying to keep it open and going.
Yeah.
I was like, we have one going into kindergarten and one going into high school.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Like,
come to Florida.
And we just had this sense of urgency to leave California.
Yeah.
For our kids, to better our kids' future.
So you got to a point where you were at the point where you're like, I am ready to uproot my entire life
Yeah.
and leave because I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
So that takes a lot of motivation to do that.
It's terrifying. It was not easy,
Oh, I can imagine.
but I'm so glad we did it. And you have to take risks. I mean, and it's actually, I get people that message me like, how'd you do it? You just fucking do it.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. And again, like I said, it was a fight or flight mode. It was like a sense of urgency to leave immediately. And a lot of my friends were like, what? Like Todd's friends all make fun of me and they're like, Jenny's crazy and that. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I want to raise good humans and I cannot do that here.
Yeah, you want to be in an environment where you feel comfortable that you're able to raise your children the way that you want to.
Yes, without
Yeah.
all the judgment and bullshit, corruption, and all of that.
Yeah.
So we decided Texas or Florida. Those were our this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And Todd just moved up so fast in
Quickly,
the company that he was able to transfer, which was amazing. And the company, the ABA company I was with at the time, had these positions open. We came to Florida. We
That's the
loved
beauty
it.
of what both of your careers, you were able to transition or transfer somewhere else with what you were both doing, which is nice.
We sold all of our stuff, everything in our house. We sold all
So
of our
all
furniture.
6 of you.
Because we were trying to do a trailer, and it was like $10,000 or plus to move.
Jeez.
And I'm like, I could just buy new shit for that much.
Right? Yeah. Just start over completely.
Yeah, the picture is hilarious of our trailer. It's just-
Was it like the Beverly Hills?
oh, it's bad. Oh,
What
it's
is it?
so
The Beverly
bad.
Hill Hillbillies
Yes,
or whatever?
100%. The tarps and it's all ripped and bungee corded. There's bikes hanging off. It was ridiculous. But he
That's
drove
awesome.
across the country. I got on a plane with the boys. We found a house, literally the perfect house right across the street from a bus station. So Tatum could go to school on a bus.
Yeah, I mean, you
with
guys found such a
kids
nice
and no
area.
Mass. And we researched. We picked this area because my cousin lives
Right.
in St. Augustine.
And the thing is,
Jacksonville.
with where you're at in Florida, I mean, everyone just assumes if you're a Floridian, you hate all that stuff, but it's the choice, right? People can decide if they want to let their children or have their children wear one to school. And if you don't, then you don't have to. That's the beauty of Florida.
Well, and you can't tell me what to do.
You can't tell me.
You're gonna tell me what to do. I'm gonna do the complete fuck opposite of whatever it is you're telling me to do.
I love it. I love
And
it.
so when you have this someone saying what I'm supposed to do with my kids, I was like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna move across the state.
Yeah.
Or country, not the state. And what makes me laugh, kind of the whole takeaway from it, is I called my mom to talk to her. Hey, I just want to let you know, podcast is gonna get a little uncomfortable for you. But it's not about you, it's about me, so don't take it personally. And something she said, she's like, I didn't raise you the correct way, but I did my best.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to raise good humans.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole takeaway, full circle, exactly why I left California is because I don't want to deal with the extra bullshit.
Uh-huh.
I just want to raise good humans.
Yeah.
And I don't want that
Anything
bullshit,
yeah.
that third party. I don't need
the interference. You don't want
And I want them to be raised,
it. With choice.
yes, freedom.
Yes.
So the land of the free, made it over here. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. I wouldn't be where I am today without my parents. So I was meant for this. I was born with their toughness. I was born with their resilience, and they, raised me to be independent and strong-willed. And even though I had kind of a shitty childhood growing up, and there's a whole,
I mean, I can
there's
see
lots of stories.
how the way you were raised. I mean, being around you for 6 months now. Is it 6 months?
8 months.
Hold on, January. I met you in January.
Yeah, we're in
February,
June.
March. Okay, I've known you for 6 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But knowing you in this short amount of time and spending a lot of time with you, I have noticed that you are very assertive and you don't have a problem with letting people know if they're doing something that you don't agree with or is maybe not the right thing. You don't have a problem saying anything. And I feel like a lot of people, with the way that they're raised, they're quiet and they're scared to say something because, you know, maybe it's because of how they were raised. So I think kudos to your mom and dad for raising a strong woman who does speak up for herself.
Yeah, I mean, I had to. In the environment that I was raised in, I had to voice my opinion. And I love that, you know, in California, I still have a village.
Yeah.
Like after just airing the podcast.
Jealous, to be honest. I almost said TBH, but to be honest.
I didn't know what that meant. I had to Google it, by the way. But I feel like Florida feels like home already. But I really resonate with the Southern culture here, like the hospitality, the humility, the devotion to family, respect for women, just common courtesy that is not a thing in California anymore. And all that makes me really grateful and happy to be here. But I mean, the takeaway is you have to just go for it. You have to do what's in your heart and what feels right. And even though it's fucking crazy, like
whatever you're feeling, whatever you
go
need,
go for what you're passionate for.
Whatever you're feeling,
what you stand
go
for
it.
Yeah, especially when it involves your kids and bettering your family. And we're all just trying to raise good humans. So, you know, Tatum could say many, many things about me, but I mean, at least I know she can say, like, I tried my hardest to make sure that she was happy and had a good life and could make decisions for herself.
Right.
If she wanted to go to school, if she wanted to wear a mask, if she wanted to talk to boys, if she wanted to talk to girls. Like, it's her choice.
Exactly.
Nobody else's. Exactly. So then, of course, I found you.
You found me.
And I got to hear your story.
And you're like, what the fuck is this?
It was intriguing to me because we are so similar as independent, strong-willed, say how we feel, no bullshit kind of women.
Yeah.
But you had such a different upbringing than I did.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go into it, but
That's a whole episode.
That's a whole episode.
Which is coming next week.
Yes.
We get to learn all about Sarah's journey.
Yes.
But that's my background. We're going to learn about Sarah's background. And that's where we're at moving forward from now. So now you have the history.
Yes. And I feel like listening to your story, what I can learn from you is to, whatever convictions you have, to go with it and to not let anything hold you back from what you want in your life. If it means moving across the country and doing what's best for your family and taking risks that way, you know, a lot of people would never do that because of just how scary it is.
It's scary. You have to, and if you fail, that's fine. Like I failed at having a restaurant. I
was going to say going into the restaurant, all those things but the biggest thing is from all of those. I love the song from Queen, Herbie or whatever. She always says, she's ours. But she has, I can't remember which song it is, and I'm going to figure it out after this episode. But she talks about, I never fail, I only learn. And that is such a good
100.
takeaway of,
that's my life.
Viewing it that way. Like,
and I fail a lot. So I'm constantly learning. Just a student. I love being a student.
So,
a life student.
That's what I take from your life is the just adventurous conviction, strong-willed spirit that you have.
Don't give a fuck.
Don't give a fuck. You're going to do exactly what you feel is right for you and your family. And it's amazing.
Yay.
Thank you again for listening today, and we hope you felt inspired by Jenny's story in one way or another.
Don't forget to click the link for our website. It's located in the podcast notes or our IG bio, and you can fill out
Yeah.
our survey.
Please do that. It will help us.
And it
So-
keeps me busy during the day. I love data and reading all of the comments and getting all of the love and feedback. And
Yeah, we want to know who's following us. And from all the feedback we have gotten, I've gotten some as well on my side. And I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. We want to grow. We want to learn. We want feedback. And we just appreciate everyone that's done that so far.
our taws, like that's
Our
been my favorite
taws.
thing, because I've had a couple
Yes.
people like taw me like, oh, that's the whole episode. I'm like,
Yes. So that makes us feel good. Like, oh my God. They
there's
listened.
a survey for that too. You can drop what you want, your ideas, or what you think of our ideas, and vote for our next episode. But our next episode is dedicated to Sarah.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
I know, it wasn't that bad. I'm fine.
No, it's going to be fun.
I
I have a very crazy life story. So far. So yeah, I can't wait to share it with you guys. Thanks again for listening. This is Naked with Socks, where we assess the mess with finesse. Cheers to my empty drink.
Cheers to my third.